Hello everyone, my name is Shukla and in this tutorial we are going to create a fully fledged dice roll app from scratch. So let's quickly look at what we are going to create. So in this tutorial we'll first design a fairly complex layout and then we'll write the Java code to roll the dice. And you see we've got the logo at the top, the two dice images, and at the bottom we've got a roll button which we can press to roll the dice. Alright, so let's go to Android Studio and create a new project. But before we proceed, let's quickly discuss about Android's architecture and its evolution. Alright, so first introduction to Android. So Android is a mobile operating system backed by Google. So it was designed for touchscreen mobile devices such as smartphones and tablet computers, but it is a OS which can be installed on any of the embedded systems. So nowadays you see we've got Android in TVs, smartphones, watches, printers. So basically Android is a OS for embedded systems. Apart from this, Android's kernel is based on one of the Linux kernel's LTS branches. We'll discuss about it in the architecture of Android. Okay, so moving on, next we've got evolution of Android. So you see in the evolution of Android, we've got alpha, beta, cupcake, so on and so forth up to Oreo, right? So after Oreo, the Pi version was released and the current version is Android 10. Alright, so now architecture of Android. So since Android is a Linux based OS, the first layer is Linux and at the top we've got applications layer. So application layer contains all the apps, apps such as WhatsApp, phone, browser. So all apps UI is present in the applications layer. Right below we've got application framework layer. So application framework layer contains activity manager, Windows manager, content providers, so on and so forth. So all the apps present here, right here in the applications layer, constantly makes a contact with application framework layer for the proper functioning of our app. So right below we've got a layer which is actually divided into two parts, libraries and Android runtime. So what these libraries are, right? So you see we've got here SQL. So this SQL library is basically used for database. And next we've got Android runtime. So Android runtime has two components, that is core libraries and Dalvik virtual machine. So this Dalvik virtual machine is used for running an Android app. Alright, so now activity lifecycle, we'll discuss about it later on. Alright, so let's now go to Android Studio and create a new project. So click on start a new project. So you see here we've got various templates. So for example, if you want to create a login or sign up activity, you can use this template, but we will go with empty activity for this tutorial. So select empty activity and click on next. And let's name our app as Dice Roller. Alright, so location will leave it as default. Language will use Java in this tutorial. So minimum API level. So minimum API level, we've got API 16, Android 4.1. So you see we've got here a little note by the Android Studio. So it says your app will run on 99.8% of the devices. So you see if we select Android 16, our app will run on 98% of the devices, and if we select an API 23, the note says your app will run on 84% of the devices. So we'll select API 16 so that our app runs on maximum number of the devices. And also for this package name, right? This package name, it is only important when you are looking to publish your app on the App Store. So for example, this thing highlighted here is the package name for this particular app. Alright. So now click on finish and Android Studio will take some time to build the project. First off, you see we've got this toggle between the design and the source code. So I have got the design tab selected. Okay, so let's drag a button from the palette into the component tree. Drag this button and place it in the center of the screen preview. Now change the button text. So let's open strings.xml. And add a new string. And let's call it button text. Now we need to give the string a value. We will call it role because that's what we want to be displayed on the screen, on the button. Type in button and hit enter. And now our button is updated. Okay, so let's give our button an ID and make sure it is descriptive because this is the name that you will use to refer to it later on in the project. For example, if you have 4 buttons on the screen and you give them ID as button 1, button 2, button 3 and button 4, so you might get confused later on. So I will give this button the ID as role button. Okay, so if you remember in our demo, we had this button color as blue and it had role written on it in white. So let's make these changes. So in the attributes, scroll and find the background and click on these 3 dots and click on color and then click on color primary and click on OK and scroll back and find text color and click on these 3 dots and select white and click on OK. Alright, now let's add few more elements to the screen. Scroll down and find the relative layout. Click and drag it into your component tree. Now add the button to this layout. We will put this role button inside this relative layout. We can do this by dragging it below this relative layout. So in the text, you can see that the indentation of the XML code reflects what we saw in the XML component tree. Now change the top level layout to a linear layout. So now a linear layout will arrange its contents either vertically or horizontally, and we can set this in the property called orientation. So let's add a vertical orientation. So now let's add background for our app. We can do that by using the background property. First, we'll need to go to the colors and so click on color accent and select yellow and go back to the XML and type in color and then select color accent. Alright, so let's switch to the design tab and add another relative layout in our component tree. And remember, we want its indentation to be same as this relative layout. So carefully place it below the linear layout. If you missed, this might add the layout inside this relative layout, which we do not want. So place it below the linear layout. Okay, so let's add an image view in the relative layout. Alright, so let's first copy all the assets that we are going to use in this tutorial and paste it in our drawable folder. Copy all the images and paste it inside the drawable folder. So all the assets that we'll be using in this tutorial will be provided to you in the description box. You can download it from there. Alright, so next let's add in the image view into our relative layout. So drag the image view and place it below the relative layout. And then inside project, select our logo and then hit OK. So you see our image view has taken the space on the entire screen and our role button disappeared. This is because we have this layout height set to match parent. So let's change it to 250 dp. Alright, so let's add another layout to our component tree. So drag and drop the horizontal linear layout. So go to layout and select linear horizontal layout and drop it into the component tree and set the layout height to wrap content. This wrap content means that the layout isn't going to be as big as the screen, it's only going to be as big as whatever it contains. In this case, the images. So let's add the two image views. This will hold our dice images. So inside widgets, drag and drop the image view, select dice image and hit on OK. Drag another image view and place it below the image view and select dice image 2 and hit on OK. So let's now add in margin top. Let's add 60 degrees. So this also drag and place this button in the center. Alright, okay, let's increase the margin top to maybe 80 degrees. Alright, so let's now give this image a more descriptive name. So let's go back to our source code and change the IDs for the logo. Let's give it an ID image logo. Give it ID as image underscore left dice. And for dice 2, let's call it image underscore right dice. main activity.java, and this is where we will create a link between the Java code and those elements in the layout file. So how will we link the layout elements with the code? First, we will create a variable that will hold the layout element, and then we will retrieve that layout element and store it in that variable. So let's create a variable for the role button. So first type in button and then place the cursor on button and Alt plus enter. And then let's call it role button. So this button is the type of variable and role button is the name of the variable. So role button equals to find view by ID r.id dot. Now for the left dice image, type ImageView left dice equal to find view by ID r.id dot. So for the right dice, type in ImageView right dice find view by ID r.id dot right image underscore right dice, and the same will do. So that's it. We have linked our all three elements in our XML to the Java code. Now to detect tabs on the screen, we need to set a on-click listener on that button. Dot. So you see Android Studio is already suggesting us to set an on-click listener on that button, and this is exactly what we want to do. So hit enter. Okay, so now we need to create a listener. So type in name and hit enter. So now every time you will tap on the role button, the code between these curly braces will get executed. So type log.g and then type name of the app. So type in dice roller and then type the message that you want to be printed on the screen. So type in the button has been pressed. Alright. So these log messages are usually used to check what's going on in our app. So now to make our dice roll, we need some random numbers, and to generate those numbers, we will use a specific object that has this ability to generate the random numbers. So first, let's create a variable that can hold this object. So the Java component which can generate random numbers is of type random. So our variable also needs to be of type random. So let's create a random number generator. Type in random space random hit place your cursor on random and then press Alt plus enter to insert the class. So we will name our variable as random number generator. So type in random number generator equals to new random. Alright. So now we have stored a random object inside a variable called random number generator, and now we can use that to create random numbers. So now we will use another variable. So type in int number equals to random number generator dot. So now select next int, which will generate an integer and provide a upper bound. So we are going to generate a number between 0 and 5. So type in next int and in bracket type in 6. So upper bound will be 6. So what will this line do? So this line will store a random number between 0 and 5 inside our variable all number. Alright, so now we will be creating an array that will hold the collection of dice images. So type in int and these square brackets. Let's call it dice array equals to new int so type in r dot drawable because the image is in drawable folder dot dice one and comma, then again r dot drawable dot the second dice image. Let's duplicate these lines. Alright, so type in 6 for dice image 6, 5 for fifth image, and don't forget the semicolon. Alright, so we just created an array with 6 elements. Also, let's add in final so that it is constant. So type in final. Alright. So we just created an array with 6 elements. Alright. So first for the left dice, type in left dice dot setImageResource. In bracket type in dice array number. Alright, so first for the left dice, type in left dice dot setImageResource, and in bracket type in dice array number. So what this line will do, this line will set the image to the left dice, and if we leave it like this, both the dice will have same numbers, but we want different random numbers on both the dice. So we will have to generate a new random number for the right dice image. So type in number equals to random number generator and type in dot next int and in bracket type in the upper bound that is 6. Now to set the image for the right dice, type in right dice dot setImageResource in bracket dice array and number. Alright, so let's now run our app. So now to run our app, you can either run it on an external Android device or you can set up a virtual device. So to set up a virtual device, go to Open Navigation Manager and click on. So I already have a Pixel API 28 device set up. You can create a new virtual device by clicking on Create a Virtual Device. And you can choose between all the configuration and devices available. So let's set and then click on next. Then click on next. You can choose between the API levels and click on next. You can name the AVD and then click on finish, and this will create a virtual device for you. Alright, so I'll be using an external device to run this app. So click on run and make sure you have the developer options enabled in your device while connecting your device to the PC. Okay, so you see we have got our logo on the top, two dice images, and to roll these dice images you can click on the roll button. Alright, so we've completed our app. Thanks for watching.